So the first and most important question that is asked in the Spring Boot interview is that what is the Spring Boot, right? So the simple answer for it is that Spring Boot is a framework which is built on the top of Spring framework. So you already know that Spring provide multiple features like dependency injection and all, right? So what is Spring Boot? It is a framework which is built on the top of Spring. So it uses all the features of Spring. Apart from it, it also added some feature which is just provided by Spring Boot. So sometimes they will ask you that can we run Spring Boot without Spring? So the simple answer for it is that Spring Boot is since built on the top of Spring framework only, so we cannot run Spring Boot without Spring framework. So the next feature of Spring Boot is that it is auto configuration and starter dependencies. So what is the starter dependency in auto configuration? So auto configuration means Spring Boot will automatically configure lots of things for you. And starter dependencies, matlab you can group lots of dependency in one dependency. So for example, I will show you one example project. So if you see this project, right? Here we have one dependency which is a Spring Boot starter web dependency. Now this dependency alone is a group of multiple dependencies. So if you want to see that what dependency is included in this one, so you can see there's one command ambient dependency tree. So if you run this command, it will print all the dependency tree. So now if you see here, right, we have added this Spring Boot starter web dependency, right? Just by adding this one dependency, all other dependency like Spring Boot starter, uh, like uh, uh, like Spring Boot starter JSON dependency, Spring Boot starter Tomcat, all of these dependency are grouped in one dependency, which is also known as a starter dependency. So you don't need to add all dependency manually, right? Spring Boot group lots of dependencies for you. So this is another feature of Spring Boot. If you're not using Spring Boot, for each dependency you have to add manually, or you have to add jar manually. But with Spring Boot, that tension is gone. Now, third point is that it eliminates boilerplate configuration. So if you know Spring, in Spring, all the bins that you want Spring to manage, you have to define that in the XML file. Now, if you have too many dependencies, right? Let's say if you have more than 1,000 bins which you want Spring to manage, in this case, this XML file will be too large and too difficult to manage. So with help of Spring Boot, you have removed this boilerplate configuration, right? So how can we remove this XML? That we'll see later. But for now, you remember that in Spring Boot, no need of XML. Now Spring Boot support embedded server support, right? So what does it mean? That if you develop any Spring application, right? If you develop any Spring application to run that application, let's say this is your VM, right? On your VM, you want to run this application. You have to manually install Tomcat on that VM. Only after installing Tomcat, you can run your Spring application, right? But Spring Boot provide embedded server support. It means that on the VM, you don't need to manually install Tomcat. If I show you dependency also, like see, if I have run this manual dependency tree, right? So it has given me all the dependency that is included in Spring Boot starter web. So if you see that there will be one dependency which is Spring Boot started Tomcat. What does it mean? That once you use this Spring Boot starter web, automatically Tomcat is available to you by Spring Boot. So you don't need to manually install Tomcat in your VM. Okay. Now we will look other features. So last point is that Spring Boot provide production ready features. What does it mean? Friends, let's say your application is running on the Tomcat, right? Now if your application is running on Tomcat, what is the health of your application? How much CPU is being consumed by your application? What is the memory uses of your application? If you want to know all these features, you have to do lots of configurations, right? But Spring Boot provide you all these feature in all these metrics, all this health check provided through actuator endpoint. So what does it mean? That you to find out all this information through your CPU uses, memory uses, you don't need to add anything. So you can just use Spring Boot will automatically provide you all those features. So it provides you production ready features. Why do we call it production ready features? Because it helps in the debugging in your application in the production environment.